Good morning. This is going to be just a quick review of how we take our notes and how we move from the article to the note sheet, from the note sheet to the checklist, so that when it's time to put our product together, we have everything that we need quick and easy to access. So we're going to be using the emoji articles that we used in class for our research practice. So we have these two articles from NewsELA. Emoji is just another way to miscommunicate, and why emojis are a no-brainer for digital communication. And we have our research question. So this is our research focus, so that we know as we're reading, these are the answers we have to find. And so we're looking for our definition, our two examples, why is it an issue, what's the history background, what ways are emojis positive, negative, or what are the arguments for or against, and then comparing and contrasting to at least the other types of communication. So what we did first in class was, again, keeping our research questions in mind, we went through and we read the articles. And so our job was to highlight when we found the answer and then label what it was, whether it was a pro-con, whether it was the definition, whether it was an example. And so we did that for both of our articles. And once we had that done, as soon as we were able to take a note from our source, from our document, we created our note sheet. So we used the NewsELA Internet Search research notes. We put in our author. We put in our title. For the web page title, it was the article title. The website we got it from was NewsELA. The copyright date for this article is right here. The sponsor company, the way NewsELA works is we put the original newspaper site where we got the article from, the date we accessed it, and then the web address. So then we go through and we start looking. So here's our research focus. And so in this box, if I had found the definition in this article, I would have written it right in here. But I personally did not find a definition in this article. I know I found examples though. So my first example goes in this box. My second example goes in this box. So all we did in class was go into the article. I found my first example, and using my pen, I open quotes. I copied it word for word, close quotes. I put my page number, so I copied it word for word. I put my page number, and I know my parenthetical citation is author's last name and page number, and this was the first note that I took. So this was note number 1. So I went back to my research practice checklist, and I have my first example. Do I have one? Check. Yep, groovy. Note number 1. Then I have my second example on the same page. And so again, open quotes, copy word for word, close quotes. It's from page 2, and Olson's my author's last name, so my parenthetical citation is Olson 2, and it's my second note. It's the second note that I wrote down on my paper. And so I have my example, I checked it off, and I wrote that it's note number 2. I continued taking notes from this packet, and as I found my issue, again, open quotes, copy word for word, close quotes, I found this note on page 1, so my parenthetical citation was Olson 1, and it was note number 3. So I'm going back to my checklist. Why is our emojis an issue? I took that note, and it's note number 3. And I did that for the other ones that I found in this article. So I found a con, and that was my 4th note. So you can see it's on my checklist. And I found a pro, which is note number 5. I found that on page 3. Olson 3 is my parenthetical citation. Then I found everything I could from this article, and I know that because I have all of my notes right there. So I switched to the second article, which, of course, I was able to find notes in. And so I started a new sheet. I did not fill out this information at the top. until I knew I had at least one note from my source. So for this second article, Why Emojis Are a No-Brainer for Digital Communication, my author is Tracy Lien. So Lien is the start of my parenthetical citation. Why Emojis Are a No-Brainer for Digital Communication is my webpage title. My website title, I got this from Newsy LA. It was written on 2/19/16, and it came from the Los Angeles Times. We accessed the article on 4/2/19, and we went to www.newsyla.com. Now, in this article, I did find the definition right on the first page. It hadn't. Most linguists agree a word is a discrete unit that is meaningful. Emoji fit that definition. It literally tells you that it's the definition. So what I did on this new sheet, because that's my note, is open quotes, and I just didn't need this first part, so I did ... A word is a discrete unit that is meaningful, semicolon, emoji fit that definition, period, close quotes, so copy word for word, close quotes, page number 1, and Lien is my author, so that's my parenthetical citation. Okay, and again, I was looking for the definition, so I wrote it in the definition box. Note number 6, this is the 6th note that I've taken. So on my checklist, for my definition, I have a note that tells me the definition, and it's note number 6. So let's do one more together. I don't need examples because I've already gotten my 2 examples. I'm looking for now, I need history and background of emojis, and I need pros. I could go for more pros and cons because I need at least 2 of each, but I'm going to be looking for how are they the same or different from other types of communication, because I still need to find this information, and I still need to find that history background of emojis. So I know I'm not going to put anything in this box because this is an example box, and this is an example box. So I'm going to see if I have any compare and contrast in this article. And I do. Right here, I have a similarity. Okay, so that's a compare. So I'm going to circle compare, and I'm going to copy word for word. So move this online where emails, text message, and instant messages mostly allow us to communicate with words, and you can see how messages can lose their meaning or be misinterpreted. So this is how, when we think about emojis, moving words online can be misinterpreted. So it's the same. So open quotes. Move this online where emails, comma, text messages, and instant messages. Now, I'm really tempted to shorten that to IM, but I am not paraphrasing. Mostly allow us to communicate with, I'm going to run out of room, so I'm crossing this out and crossing this out, and I'm just going to go right into this box. Communicate with words, comma, and you can see how messages, and you can see how messages can lose their meaning or be misinterpreted. Misinterpreted. Period, close quotes. Now, I find this on page 2 of my article. My author is Lien, So my parenthetical citation is Lien 2, and this is my 7th note that I've taken from both of these articles. So now I'm going back to my research focus, and I am going to do a check mark because I have one similarity, number 7. So now I'm going to go back into my article, and I see that I have here a difference down here between texts and emojis. So I'm going to, in this note, this is a contrast. A difference is a contrast. So again, open quotes, copy word for word. Open quotes. Where text took the empathy out of messages. Where text took the empathy out of messages, comma, emojis and emoticons, put it back in. Put it back in. Period, close quotes. And again, page 2, my parenthetical citation is Lien 2. And yes, you have to write it every single time. And my note, this is note number 8. So on my checklist, I now have one of my differences, and that's number 8. So when I look at my research checklist, I now know I need to go back into either other articles or find a book or something, because I still need history background. I still need 2 pros, or 1 pro and 1 con, because I only have one of each. Okay? So then I can keep on going back through my article. Here I have another con. Try as people might, emojis aren't here to replace language. Many streams of emojis can get lost in translation. So again, this is a negative. It's a reason why we aren't going to be, some people don't like using emojis. So I'll go back to my note sheet, and this is a con, so I'm going to circle that, and I am going to open quotes and try as people might. I'm copying it word for word from my article. Try as people might, comma, emojis aren't here to replace language. Period. Many streams of emojis can get lost in translation. Can get lost in translation. Period, close quotes. And I find this on page 3. So my parenthetical citation is Lien 3, and this is my 9th note. So I go back to my checklist, and I have my second con, and it is note number 9. So you can see how all of this connects together and makes your life easier as you're doing your research.